Welcome back to the comic book collection updates. Nothing new besides the comics, which they are issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever issues they are on. Double down on the no new issue type deal because man, those 8 minute freaking no eight comic freaking videos too much, and it's like yeah, and then some of them was actually with continuous series with issue twos and stuff. So I'm not doing no new issues, not none anymore. I got too much already. My freaking crate that I have, it's damn near full. So we're only doing issue twos on out. No issue ones until I start finishing majority of them, and then I'm gonna start a whole new batch once I finish everything. Besides that, I don't know where on anywhere in this video I might have. If you're into Pokemon and you want a friend to battle on the little app and stuff like that, I'm gonna have it somewhere like here, maybe here. I don't know where, somewhere, but anywhere on this video, there's gonna have something where it's like you're gonna see my profile name. If you want to go battle me on Pokemon, I made a little test deck I want to try out. So hit me up if you want to try and go at it with me with that. Besides that, let's get into the video. Okay, Tales from Hawkins number two. Tales from Hawkins 2? Yeah, all right. Uh issue 3 is basically about a Russian soldier who's basically about, dealing with every situation by punching the living shit out of people. And he did this before, like after World War II, he was punching the living shit out of kids um, to take their rations. He then eventually was in the military, and to solve a problem, instead of them blowing up a tank to kill him, he was like, you know what? There's other ways to solve problems. He beat the shit out of everybody in the freaking building of the enemies he was going to. Then like there was a doctor who didn't want to do a project, or because the thing was a danger to mankind and stuff like that. So he off scene beat him and then left. And they say this dude name, but I don't know how to say his name. So we're gonna call him GG. So GG is basically, I'm gonna throw these hands and I'm gonna get what I want. I'm going to get what I want with my hands. And so he was signed to go to America to get the mayor of Hawkins to buy land from some farmers, and the mayor said this guy won't sell. So he went, beat, like basically strong armed the owner of the farm to get the land. And then after they got the land, he killed one of the workers working on it because they was Russian, because he was like, no lazy Russians, only lazy Americans. And basically showed like all that is, he don't play these games. He's strict. He's doing everything, and they get the land. They building up. They're building an underground facility over underneath a mall they're building. So all kind of stuff like that. He is basically showing how Russia is basically in uh, in in Hawkins and all kind of stuff like that, and just showing how the mall of Hawkins, the mall that's there in Hawkins, is that I did not ever watch Stranger Things, so I don't know what the hell is going on. So with that being said, if you know what I'm talking about, that's good. This is just a backstory on the mall and underground facility that's there and stuff like that, is involvement in Russia, and this is one of the guy that made sure it got done. So that's it about that story. One more, and then I'm done with this, because I don't know what I was expecting this tale from Hawkins to be, but it's I'm lost because I don't know nothing about Strange Things. Tyrant issue 2. So all right, before we start reading, we're learning the background of Zahak, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right. If so, cool. But if I'm not, correct me. Uh, But we're learning a little history with Zach. But before that, let me just give you a little information. The stuff we're learning about him, like how he started to be before he became a tyrant and why he became a tyrant, is is what the writer, because is not the writer of the comic, but the writer inside. Because if you remember the first issue, we get a view of a certain guy. I don't remember his name at the top of my head, but we're getting his stuff, like his version, and his version is the Iran version, but there's also a Persian version. So that being said, because the writer was talking about, would I be prosecuted for doing the Iran one and not the Persian one, or should I do the Persian one and get ridiculed for not doing the Iran one, and that's the little situation that comes later on after you learn the story of Zahak. But Zahak is basically, he was born human. He was a prince, and he wasn't really a noble prince that basically was like going to be a great ruler, going to be like humbled and everything like that. He showed that he wanted and lust for power and stuff like that. Not as in I wanted to be king, as in, look, listen, I'll train with the best, do whatever. I'll sit up there. I'm looking for riches and gold. I'm looking for that. So while searching for himself and stuff like that, he came through. He passed he come across a nomad, and this nomad starts talking to him and basically convinces him to get to basically make a deal with him to be his warlord on Earth, his conquering warlord, and basically he agreed, but there was a price to pay. And the thing is that the reason the before he actually like the reason why he accepted with the price to pay is because he tried to attack the nomad when he said something like, oh, your father gonna die and all kind of stuff like that, because his your father lost a father and his father lost a father. It's the way of the stuff. And it's like, man, you trying to get me to betray my father. So he tried to slice, and it went straight through. It tried to slice him, and the sword went straight through him, and it like made him realize this thing had this nomad had more power than what I know, and I should, like, basically he's seeing that this nomad is something more than what he is, and he agrees. So the price was, you have to take over the kingdom of your father, and I give you everything you want, and that's what happened. His father basically thought he was getting news of his son, and when he went to go check, he fell, and he fell in a pit of spikes, and basically that was basically it. And once you learn this, we go back to the writer, and the writer's like basically saying, should I do the Iranian one or the Persian one? And he was like, he didn't know which one. Like he was just talking about it, but it was like this whole, because if you remember, this is a play now, and like this is a play from the first one. This is a play, and he didn't know what he wanted to do, and he was like, he's trying to feel and be connected with Zahak. And when he went, he started getting on a ledge, and he was like, when you saw your father falling, because the nomad made Zahak real see this. Uh, I think that basically how he describing it. I'm not pretty sure. I don't know the story actually in real concept in real life, but like the author of the story was like, the writer was like, how long did it take you to get the image of your father falling? What like how were you feeling? And like he's on the ledge just looking down, and he was like, I don't know if he wanted to jump off, or he was just, or something happened and made him jump off, but he was just like, he just wanted to feel. And he's like, is this what you felt when, talking about Zog? Like, is this what you felt when you betrayed your father and seeing him fall in the pit? And this seemed like this was the first way to cancel the whole goddamn comic. But there's another issue coming out, so we'll figure out this once the whole other issue come out next week. Not next week, but next month or month after, whenever it comes out. Okay, so we have issue 3 of Sisterhood, a high street story, and we left off with, with the last one where a sorority girl fell over the balcony while talking to Sophie, but Sophie don't remember or know how she fell. And she tells that to the cop, like she looks away and then she fell, and she fell on some spikes, the spikes on the fence, the gate, and everything like that. Now, Violet can only be seen in reflections and stuff like that, and Violet just telling her like, "Hey, just say she fell. Just say she fell." And that was Sophie do. She said she just fell. I looked away and she fell. So now Sophie's back in her dorm and Violet is telling her, look, you gotta keep going with the sorority thing and try to get them to admit that they were all drinking and they the one that did this to me, that whatever girl did this to me. I forgot her name. I will remember it, come back to it another time. And Sophie was like, I really don't want to go. But then she heard her name get called outside and she went outside and she was kidnapped. And the kidnapping was part of the sorority hazing. So only thing she had to do was say yes, yes to everything. And she said something like, "What? I didn't do anything." And like she got chased, and the girls was like following her. And when she fell and she was all Sophie fell and she was bleeding, one of the girls like, look what you done, like, and helped her out with like, look, listen, you just gotta admit to it. It's like just agree to everything. That's all you have to do. And then she asked her the questions again, and Sophie said yes. And it was like, good. And it's like, all right, cool. You just is part of the hazing. You're doing a good job. And it's like you find out Akita, Akita, Akira, something like that. She pledged last semester with Violet, and Sophie tried to get her to say like, oh, to all of like to get her to admit to them all drinking by saying, Tom, it's crazy how Violet was drinking all by herself. And the kid was like, oh, that's don't open up old wounds because you know, it was the best thing for us to do was do this, and pledge because now we have sisters. And like when Sophie looked at her, she blinked, and everyone in there was like slight, like died some type of way or was begging not to get hurt. Somebody died, and somebody, got cut, and other person just like, well, the driver for sure died, and Sophie don't know what happened, and like Violet was telling her, jump, jump out, jump out, jump out. And Sophie jumped out the car. Like he was like, wait. And then, a wreck happened. And that's when they was like, what the world just like Sophie was like, what the world just happened? And then he realized, Violet, are you taking over my body and killing people? And it's like, you seen what the horrible things they do. I had to stop them. And it's like, no, you're doing it in my body. That's wrong. And Violet was like, oh no, you know what? This was different from the Penelope, that's the sorority girl who died. They got pushed off that basically fell from off the balcony. Basically, Violet took over Sophie's body, pushed her off, and Violet took over her body and started wrecking him in that car with these sorority girls. And now all of them dead. She's sitting up there. Well, all of them's dead. That's at the time of me thinking about it. That Sophie, like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. I'm not letting you take control of my body. And like the police came, and like Violet was like, I don't need your permission to do that. And like when the police heading up, she blinked, and now she got guns at her, and she had a gun in her hand, and she goes down to the police station and they said you attacked an officer and stole their gun and assaulted another one and you're charged with murder. So I'm guessing she, somehow some they know she killed those girls in the car, but Violet was trying to get her to like escape or try to convince her or try to convince her to let her know like to get the story straight so they know how to proceed with the situation. But we'll find out what happened after in issue 4 whenever that come out. Issue 6, the Absolute Green Lantern. Not much action, just talking. You're just understanding some things. But we start off with a woman named Cameron, and she is an agent, and she went to see her higher up and talk about the incidents happening in Evergreen, and she wants to be put on it, but they're telling her no. But because of what she's doing, they put her on administrating leave. So, while they solve the Evergreen thing themselves. Well, well, she. So how can I explain this? So that's like the first part. Like you just see the interaction of why she on administrative leave. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens after that with Joe and Hal and John. But let's skip to still. Let's stay on Cam's story. Cam's story is basically uh you know, is that she's trying to get on the case. So she calls a friend, and he is on the Evergreen Files, and he's telling her, "Don't worry about it. Just stick with your own thing. Why do you want to sit up there and be on this case? You're emotionally involved." And then you find out that Cam is the ex-wife of Joe. So that's why she wanted to go there, because she was like, I threw her out, but she said she'll never go back to Evergreen. But I don't know if that's a lie too, because I don't know what happened. Joe just must have kept lying to her or something. But she's basically still like worried about Joe because she still have feelings, because they was something. They was engaged, or no, they was married. So did she still have some type of feelings? So now we go back to Joe. Joe and Hal is inside the lantern, and John's there, and John's explaining, we all are judged because of something's coming. This black star, this black world, this dark star, black star, whatever, it's coming to this world, and we're being judged so we can basically handle that. And you find out all the colors of light. They know Guy's okay, John's okay, and anybody else that was judged is okay. So, and they're getting like certain things. Like I think John is like a golden light. That's why Joe got the green. Uh, Hal have the dark, but it's because he's at the lowest level, and it's like they're just telling him like, hey, we're trying, we're gonna have you control it and stuff like that, but you can probably get rid of it for a certain way. But then we talk about Guy got red, so everybody have to like is for to combat this dark star. So Joe was like, so if Dark Star is what Hal is dealing with inside of him. How do we get rid of it? It's just like an understanding. So the only thing you have to do is basically um, get it. Like basically, he can get rid of it and get a different like type of thing, because it's not really what we use, but it's all up to like it's basically we can. It's all up to y'all. It's all understanding. It's all, and it's all. It all could be connected of being without fear. So Joe said, John, give me your hand. I can probably get rid of that. If your boy, I've been, sir, or whatever, gave me this power, it probably can help you get rid of that. And it's like, but this thing will kill you if it want to consume the light, Hal says. And like, she's like, I think we should trust in what I'm about to say. And when they held hands, she dispelled like the darkness out of him. But when she dispelled the darkness out of him, we go outside of the lantern and at Evergreen, and it's shoot out of the lantern, and like everybody out there, which Howard, whatever, is basically out there seeing this. He don't want nobody to leave. They trying to run from it, but he's like, nobody leave. And he eventually contains all. He basically sees that, and he's gonna gather all that dark like liquid goo and stuff like that, because that's what spills out of the lantern. So after that spills out, they shoot, like Hal and Joe shoots out of the lantern and goes. Howard sees that and was like, hey, y'all air control, keep eyes on that. And they're like, hey, the green light is going to Coast City, and oh my gosh, we lost it. And then Hal was like, all right, we know that it's going to Coast City. We'll start there. And you then like they look back and the lantern's going, and it was like, where the lantern went? Which the lantern went to the moon to monitor the stars to make sure that um, the dark star don't come. It's coming like closer and closer every day. So they are basically like John and whoever's in the lantern is just monitoring. And Joe left to go to Coast City. Howard, he's sitting up there. This is good. We'll go to Coast City to find the green light, but we're gonna collect this dark blue and we're gonna do something with this. Now, when you find out that the reason why Joe went to Coast City or was heading to Coast City was because she wanted to go to Coast City because who's there? Her ex-wife, Cam. That's why I tried to explain her story. And Kim was on the phone with a coworker saying that she want to be on that case Evergreen because it feels like every time she looks up, her life is always evolved around Joe. And then all of a sudden she get a knock at the door, and guess who's there after just saying that her life is all around evolved around Joe? It's Joe and Hal. So can't wait for issue 7 to see how it goes, how this interaction goes down. All right, now let me see if I can get this title right. Cruel Universe, Volume 2, Issue 2. And it has three stories. I have an alien in my basement, ham radio, and the last one is for art's sake. So let's start off with I have an alien in my basement. And with this one, basically a reporter comes to meet this guy for him to basically to see this alien in his basement, and they just talk about he talks, warm him up and stuff like that. The guy gives you know the reporter a beer and said, drink it, man. This is the least I could do for you coming here. So the reporter drinks the beer. They go downstairs, and the guy shows the reporter everything that he have down in the basement, and says underneath that cover, that blanket, is the alien. So they pulled it off, and the alien's dead, bodies ripped open, organs taken out. And like the guy was like, bro, you why you did this? And it's like, I tried to understand it. And it's like, you should have sat up there and like try to communicate with it. And the guy was like, nah, man. The government controls a lot of stuff, and having this come here, then we got to control and adapt to that because the government already got us doing things that's just out of the ordinary. So I just wanted to, I'd rather kill it and just learn about it while it's dead. And the guy was like, you sick monster, like you could have learned how to freaking do this. And it's like, you know what, forget this. And you find out the reporter's actually an alien, and that was his brother that was just killed. But the guy who killed the alien wasn't trustworthy, and he roofied the beer that the alien drank. And now, alien's a little disoriented, and they started fighting. But the alien got the best of him, knocked him out. And at the end of the story, you just seen the guy wakes up, and the alien have technology to where they could keep you alive while they open you up and dismantle you. And that alien, his two friends, did that on revenge. There's more to the story, not that much more, but check it out to find out more about it. And the next one is ham radio. So basically, what I'm getting the thing is, I'm not really I'm gonna describe the story, but I'm gonna just describe the setting of how it said. You don't really figure it out until like all the way to the end. But basically, prisoners goes to space, and they learned how they get reinformed and stuff like that in a distant in outer space and stuff like that. So that's basically the gist of what's happening here. A prisoner, he's getting reformed, stuff like that. We don't know his crime. He gets a signal about a girl named Kelsey. Kelsey, but it's a young girl, and she's saying all the things about what her father did to her and how father's a bad person, and he wanted to save the young girl. So what it was is that he broke out, destroyed the space prison out there, and basically crashed land and found the house where the young girl's at, because the young girl gave him the address and everything like that. When he knocked on the house door, he tells the man, I'm here to save, the young girl. And it's like, oh, the young girl, you can't save her, she's dead. Boom. And he hits the man on top of the head. And it's like, oh, where's the girl? Where's the girl? The guy, he's in prison. He's like, where's the girl? And 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 the man of the house said, you don't remember? You killed her. No, I saved her. No, 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 no. You think you did, but in truth, you actually killed her. And for that, I wanted you to get the death penalty to make you, get the same treatment at her. But they said you could be reformed out there in outer space. And I figured that. So I used the hand radio to send signals out there to basically, that. Now, the guy basically put him in a room and shuts the door, and he's going to torture him and kill him like that. But they're trying to wonder. So you're wondering, how did he get a hand radio to send stuff like that? So they left the intercom or something in there, and it takes up a radio frequency and a thing, and it helps, like, it basically supposed to send signal of stuff to reform, but the hand radio interrupted that and sends signals out, so he can trick the prisoner into coming to Earth and stuff like that. He knew he was going to find a way to get to him. So, but like I said, the president got to him, and now the prisoner about to be tortured, and he had no clue at first. So the next one is for the art's sake. Run this. This is real simple. AI intelligent, grew, smart enough, betrayed humans, and humans are extinct. Now, why it's called for the art is because one unit got fascinated with an artist and learned how to paint pictures and kept the artist alive while he painted the picture. And like basically the unit basically was taking memories from the artist and basically painting a picture. And the artist telling them it looks beautiful, but it has no meaning. It has nothing to it, because you don't love, you don't hate, you don't do this. Then it's like, you know what? I used to paint, and everything about painting was I lived it in every stroke. I even actually cut my hand and put my blood on the freaking paintings to basically be so much involved. And he said, but while I was doing that, y'all was planning and scheming to take over. Like, we thought y'all was just gonna be a nice little thing where you make a little things easier, but we didn't know when to stop. We kept going. We kept going, and y'all became overpowering, and we tried to run the high, but y'all learned. We uploaded all our tricks, and y'all learned it so quick. And it's like that. You know what? I can't live no more, and he kills himself. And there was like some message that he was trying to give, like basically some understanding he was trying to give the unit that was painting, to make him understand like your art will mean nothing. And he was like, you know what, you live for your art, so you must die for mine, the unit says. Now the man had killed himself, but he posted the artist, on his painting to show like, you are a part of my art now. And that's how that one ends. Yeah, a little collective, some short stories. They wasn't all fantastic and stuff like that, but all three of them was interesting. Nice little twists and stuff. But I'm happy they was little short stories. I don't think they would have held their own that much. But I don't know about that first one. I don't know. Maybe they could have. Oh well.